Hi, welcome back. It is Laura again at Hyperstamper. I really think this is a beautiful, beautiful junk journal, and I did use an 83-year-old book as the base. It's a Rudyard Kipling book, but I did cover it because it had a very unusable sort of cover. But I used all kinds of vintage fabrics. This is vintage Chantilly lace here. I've got an antique brass handle that I've attached onto here. I've put my vintage and antique buttons on there. We've got some cotton and lace, and of course I used my vintage beads. And this here is a vintage necklace that I did not pull apart, so you can still take that off and wear it if you'd like, but I thought it was the same color as the handle, so I just think it all blends in together so beautifully. So before I put it in my Etsy shop, let me take you on a little tour of this beautiful junk journal. So Rudyard Kipling, there's the original inscription from 1948, which is the year that the book was published. A bright idea. I've got some of these pressed flowers here that you could take out of there and put anywhere you like in the book. There's the original first pages. Beautiful illustrations, really different. Here is a postcard from the very early 1900s, and I believe this is a German village of Rothenburg. And then this here is a plate from a vintage art book, and this is the artist Coots, and that's a beautiful impression piece there, just gorgeous. Here is a great magazine page from 1933. Look at the fashions here. Could we not just wear those today? Seriously, almost 100 years later, and the fashions are just to die for. This is from a vintage bird book here with antique paper on the back for more journaling space. This is a little teeny tiny booklet here from a vintage botanicals book. Just kind of a fun little piece. And that is a vintage recipe card, never been written on. This is a gorgeous from 1913. Look at this. The Notebook of My London Garden. It's just got the prettiest illustrations in it. And on the back is just more of the story here. I love, look at that. Isn't that so beautiful? It's very old, very precious. And the garden pieces are always really popular. This is a little poem that I pulled out of a children's book. Again, kind hearts are the gardens, kind thoughts are the roots, kind words are the flowers, kind deeds are the fruits. This is a guard's watch dial from the 1890s, and that would have been used to clock their hours. I just hand stamped that bit there. This is from the 50s, an embroidery book. And speaking of embroidery, we have here some beautiful Polish embroidery. Look at that. There's a beautiful plate from 1950s as well. And then this here I pulled out of the inside of, it was underneath the spine of the book, between the spine and the interior spine. And I love it. It says pictures. I just love it. And that's what my journals are all about, antique and vintage pictures. This is just a really cool advertisement for lime fruit juice. Look at that. I just love it so much. Anyways, that's just a fun little piece here, hiding in here. You can journal on here, and there's a wonderful 1920s children's book page there. Fun clusters with some Canadian birch bark here. It just feels like velvet. It's so wonderful. This is also from the 1920s. Isn't that great? From a children's school book. Little hidden journaling spot up there. That's my my go-to. Put those in all my journals. And this is, of course, an 1800, I believe 1850s German marbling. Again, Germans made the best books in the 1800s, just the best. This is gorgeous vintage crochet, vintage botanical, or sorry, antique botanical book of perennials, all black and whites. A 1950s recipe book page from Betty Crocker cookbook. Or that one might be Better Homes and Gardens. Another 1930s children's book page. This is a handwritten research paper, 1885. You can see that they used the old quilled pen for that. Another great image. Is there a goat? Okay. I see this story in a lot of antique children's books. Here is just a little booklet that I made out of 2 different vintage cards, and just a really fun little journaling spot there. I thought those were cute. And this is a very old and actually valuable stamp from Monaco, 1956. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love it. I found that, you can see the original tape back there from a stamp collector's book. So that's a pretty cool piece. And then this is from 1903, another Beatrix Potter plate from her little book series. I just love them. They're so precious. Here is another wonderful piece. Look at this one. Nui's Barloop Eyes from, they're usually from England. Oh, look at even the back. The graphics on the back are fantastic, aren't they? I love them. Just love them so much. And so, yeah, 1920s. And then this is another black and white plate here. Look at that. South Carolina. And then we've got antique paper on the back. More perennials. This is from the 50s here. Knitted, tatted, and crocheted pieces. And I love old tatting. So that's something my mom used to do. This is from this book here, The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. In the original book, there's just a beautiful plate from the 50s. And this is just another one of my little booklets. These little bits here where the index piece was. I just love that. So we've got the vintage recipes there. And then on the inside, just all my little cutoffs from my antique papers. So you've got lots of journaling space there. Look at this little cutie pie here eating his birthday cake. An antique music sheet there. Another vintage children's book page. And in here, this is very cool. This is from 1910. And it is just a sort of not an advertisement, but I guess a notice. Pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot. And I like how this person's, the whole address is W.J. Walpole, Spry. That's it. That's how it got to him. Just a name and a town. That's just an antique page there that you can journal on. Another antique page down here. And this here is a beautiful antique plate. Isn't it beautiful? Hudson River. And I left the, sometimes I rub these out, but I left the person scribbling down the side here, notes to themselves, probably a student. Another piece here from 1913 again. Look at these daisies down here, just stunning. People like to digitize things. Look at that. There's all kinds of wonderful things in here that you could digitize. Here's a hand-typed research paper from 1888. Vintage Monopoly money here, more of that crochet book. Oh, this wonderful 1920s children's book page, and I do that because it's that fuzzy cardstock, very thick, heavy cardstock. That is from the early 1900s, How to Write Letters If You're a Lady. And vintage, you can say it, Laura, ledger page, not a girl. I love this, My Young Days. Yes, I still feel like I'm in my young days, even though we all know I'm not. But my brain thinks I am. And here is another great 1926 magazine page, not newspaper, but just has, remember those? Oh my gosh, just the best advertisements. I just love them. So a lot of fun. You'll have a lot of fun looking at that if you get to own this book. Little peekaboo page here. And then I've got another really sweet antique page here. Look at the little kittens and the little poems, 3 little kittens. And then this is a 1937 diary page. Came from the 1930s here from a children's book. And really fun cluster down that page there. And that flip side to that 1920 children book page. And that brings us to the end of the original end pages of the book. So I hope you love this as much as I loved making it. So you can go to hyperstamper.etsy.com and check out all of my journals there. And don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you soon.